Welcome to the Healing Place podcast, a space filled with inspirational stories of hope, along with practical advice for your healing journey. Your host is Teri Wellbrock, trauma warrior, writer, speaker, blogger, therapy dog handler, and founder of the Sammy's Bundles of Hope project. As a survivor and a thriver, Teri's mission is to shine the light of hope into the world by interviewing insightful guests from across the globe. Please stay tuned at the end of today's interview as we honor our sponsors. The Healing Place podcast is a fiscally sponsored project of Fractured Atlas. Now, here's your host and trauma warrior, Teri Wellbrock.
Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I am your host, Teri Wellbrock, and very excited to have with me today. And I'm going to let her say her name because she says it much more beautifully than I do.
Thank you, Teri. So it's Petia Kolibova. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored.
Absolutely. Well, again, we talked for just a second before I hit record, and I love the work you're doing, and I feel honored as well to have you here on the Healing Place podcast to join me today. And we're going to talk about some really awesome stuff as far as you are a women's transformation coach, but inspired by Louise Hay, which we have that connection because I am also inspired by Louise Hay. I'm a huge Dr. Wayne Dyer fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the whole Hay family.
Yes, the whole Hay House family. Exactly. So tell everybody what it is that you do in the world.
Absolutely. It's so fascinating. You know, people, they look at me now and you too, like you admitted, like, oh, I've been stalking you. I was looking at your website and I like who you're being. And you know, the fascinating thing when people look at me now, what they see, it's like this fulfilled podcaster, 5-figure months, being in loving relationship. I just love my clients. I only work with my soulmate clients. I have a team of 10 amazing people who are helping me grow and make a bigger impact. But that's now, you know, and let's not even mention my retreats in Bali when we can travel, right? And women's weekends and live events and podcast, TV show, everything now, it's beautiful. Yet people, when they see me, they don't see the past. They don't see the darkness, you know. I don't know about you, Teri, but when I look at people, the people who are really shining the brightest, it's because they know the darkness and they are not open to go back into that. Because once you see the light, once you taste it, like there is no way you can just shrinking, go back to the place, go back to the box, right? So for me, the healing journey, it took almost over 3 decades. When I'm like really being honest, it was over 3 decades, and it involved attempt of suicide, mental and physical abuse by my stepfather, eating disorder, toxic relationships, and really see myself as very unworthy of love, unworthy of being here. And I figured it out throughout my healing journey that it also sprouted not only in my stepfather, but also my mom. I was an accident, right? My mom was dating my dad for 2 years. Then the first time they've been together, she get pregnant with me. So my whole life in my back of my mind, I was thinking I should not be here. I'm an accident. I don't matter. Her life would be better if I'm not here. So that's how I behaved. And that's the people and relationships I was attracting. So it wasn't up until almost when I was 30, when I realized, oh my gosh, if I will keep going this pace, the second attempt of suicide, nobody will find me on time. And that was when I discovered Louise Hay, and she literally saved my life.
Yes, and Louise Hay, for those who are unfamiliar, is the You Can Heal Your Life philosophies. She wrote a great book titled that. And just the power of, I practice positive affirmations, which is a big part of her teachings. And that's part of what I've utilized on my own healing journey as well.
Absolutely positive affirmations. It what really shook me to my core when I found Louise Hay, and I know you know the phrase, go to the mirror and say I love you. I really, really love you. I didn't even bother Teri. I didn't even pick up my booty to go to look into the mirror because I didn't love myself. I didn't even like myself. And that was the moment when I'm like, wait a moment. I want everybody to love me. I want everybody to validate me while I'm not doing it to myself. So that was like a big aha moment. And that was the start of my journey of a decade to get where I am today. And I really wouldn't change it for a world. Of course, there is a pain, there is a suffering, but I truly believe that yes, you can feel fulfilled and joyful and you don't need to experience trauma and suffering. But when we do, we are so much more compassionate, loving, nurturing. I have just so much. I have just so much love for my clients and for life and for myself now. I would never believe that. But if I wouldn't know what does it feel like, I literally hated my body. I was hurting my body. And it's just I wouldn't be able to connect so deeply. I am deeply listening, I'm deeply loving, and I was being told I'm too good, I'm too emotional, like people will take advantage of me, don't be so good with people. And the thing is that in the back of my mind I was always saying like, no, 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 the right people will appreciate it, the right people will really like know that this is good. So it was like coming back home. It was coming back home when I realized that I came here to be me, and that is my purpose.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I apologize. So meant to tell you beforehand, and I'll edit this out, that my therapy dog, Sammy, is in the office with me.
I love dogs and I want to pet him. Mine, it's like with her daddy in the office, but I am such a like dog lover, like Teri, like you and me, we are like soul
I
sisters. You
know,
have
I was just going to
animals,
say,
you have
we're soul
dogs.
sisters.
Hay house, I just love it. And I have a hummingbird here. I wish I could show you, but right behind the screen it's my window, and I have a hummingbird feeder and they keep
Oh,
flying in and out. So
that's so beautiful. I love it. Well, she'll settle back down in just a second, but there she goes. Now she laid down. So if you see Sammy's head pop up, just know that that's her saying hello.
yeah, I love dogs. So she can be popping however she wants.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll dive back into where we were. So what you were just saying was beautiful because, um, yeah, I know along my own healing journey, it took, I experienced severe panic attacks for 25 years, and it was because I was so afraid to go back into that darkness. But
Hmm.
as I discovered, I had to go back into it in order to heal it, in order to shine the light onto it. It just had to be done.
Absolutely. And it's so fascinating. I compare it like I did a Bali retreat last year and I was speaking with one attendee because we were doing like inner child healing meditation, and she was like right before the meditation she was like, I cannot remember anything from my childhood. My childhood is fine. Nothing like terrible happened. I'm like, okay, let's just do that. We did the meditation. She ended up crying. She realized that she felt like unloved by her father because he wasn't tackling her in bed at night, and how
Oh,
simple is that, right? But like the impact it has, the deep impact. And I'm so happy we did that because I was able to guide her back, talk with her dad. I mean, just in, like visualization, tell her how she felt, made a peace with him. And he got couple months ago cancer. And she went back to see him because he's in Europe. But the thing is that their relationship healed before he got sick. Like it's so powerful because I always think about it like this analogy of, how in the scary movies they put like the old broken house, everybody's scared to even walk around. So I feel like sometimes our past, it's like this horrible old house, right? We are so scared to go there, yet we know there is a room and there is something in for us that we really need to grab, to heal, to really be able, like you said, shine our light. So we go back the first time, you're like almost breathless, like you are scared of your life, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? You're contracting, it doesn't feel good, it's uncomfortable. You can even experience like physical pain because it's so scary, right? But then you
Right.
go to the room and you realize, okay, nobody like cut my head off or whatever, like I'm okay, everything is okay, this is good. So the next time when you go back, like, okay, this is uncomfortable, but it's not terrifying. This is what it is, like going back to our past. And for each of us is different. You cannot force it. Sometimes I have a breakthroughs after just one session. I even do with my clients who are not yet open or able to commit to 3 months coaching with me. I have a 90-minute session that it's breakthrough session. You experience such a deep healing after just one session, because if you're ready, we can really go there, but you get to be open and willing, because like you said, it's scary, it's uncomfortable, but without going back and healing the past, you cannot move forward, not in a fulfilled and joyful way.
Right. Well, and that's why I love you're doing work with childhood trauma, because again, people think, oh, I'm not carrying that around with me. Or as my mom, who's 84 and celebrating 1 year sober today, she had always told me, oh, Teri, it's the past, just let it go, just let it go. I don't, I've forgiven people, I just let it go. Well, it wasn't until a year ago when she started finally doing her own healing work for her childhood trauma that she was
Wow.
finally able to stop using alcohol for self-medication. And
83.
yes,
Wow,
yeah,
Teri, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that's so powerful when we realize it's never too late.
yes,
Ever. My
yeah,
grandma is 77, so we're still working on the forgiveness part.
yeah. Yeah, it's hard, I mean, it took her when all of this started to surface for her, and she started finally talking to a psychiatrist and started opening up to me about her childhood, that yes, she had to do some forgiving work that she thought she had done,
Mm.
by just saying, oh, Jesus said, so I forgave them. But she
Mm.
really had to go back and do
Yeah.
some serious work, and it was
It's
beautiful.
it's so inspiring, really. And also what I noticed on my journey, and please share with me, how did you experience this on your journey? But when I started this journey, I'm like, okay, I hear about the forgiveness work. Let me just write forgiving letter and burn it out, and we're done, right?
Yes.
I did it so many times that I'm like, I'm still angry. I am still frustrated. And like, the people who hurt me, cheated on me, or lied to me, they're okay. And I'm here like upset. But what I created, I just had a download, like I get the best ideas like in shower or when I'm in nature. So I just get this inspired idea download of forgiveness framework. And Teri, just if you want to, just email me or give your listeners my email, Petia, hello@petiakolibova.com. I can just send you, it's just a beautiful simple spreadsheet of forgiveness framework. And what's different about it, it's not just like forgiveness letter. It's like step-by-step process where you start with the appreciation and gratitude. Because when we try to forgive someone, what do? Blame, show, like you were so and so and you did this and this and this. So what energy you're starting the letter with? Anger and frustration, and you are putting it on the paper and think you will feel better. But when you can take a step back and look at that person, what can you appreciate about them? What is the gift in that situation? And when I created this forgiveness letter, it was actually for my mom. It was for my mom, because to forgive my stepfather, who was physically and mentally abusive, and who kind of, I don't want to say like started, but who kind of like inspired me into the eating disorder, the way he was treating me when I was 11 years old. I could forgive him easier because I'm like, he didn't know any better. He adopted me, I mean, they got married with my mom, so I was like a stepdaughter, and he just had no experience with kids. He was young, and this is how he was raised, physically abused and put down. So of course, he's just like carrying it through the generation. But to my mom, who was witnessing it, and she was just putting things under the rug, I could not, because I'm like, I don't have babies yet. We're planning next year. I don't have them yet, but I see it with my family, with my grandma. She's my angel, literally. And I would just like, Mama Bear, like, don't get in the way of my family and friends. Like, it's just like, I don't get it. So I get to create this forgiveness framework for my mom. So first was appreciation. Then it was sharing the things, how I was feeling. I didn't say you this. I said, this is how I feel. And then I was appreciating her childhood, like really looking at, I see now that you two were going through this, and you must have been scared. And I know, that it must be confusing for you. So it was really acknowledging it. And then it's continuing into me parenting my mom, seeing her as the little girl and telling her the things that I needed to hear when I was growing up. So it's really like this blend of the energies. And, there are a few other steps, but when you finish this, you are feeling lighter and you're feeling filled with love instead of being frustrated and angry and burn the leather and now what?
Right. And it's so true, because I love what you just added an extra piece that I hadn't done yet, which was the appreciation part of it. I love the way you worded that, because I did the letters of appreciation and burned them. And when I first started, it was that angry, and I would just have to keep adding and burning and adding and burning and keep adding more and more. But then I practiced Ho'oponopono Hawaiian healing and some other healing modalities that I then incorporated into these. And so then I started saying, you know what, I'm going to write these letters from a place of looking at not taking my own needs into consideration, but the needs of the person needing forgiveness. And so that was an approach. And I love what you just said about appreciation. That's a beautiful point.
Thank you. Because I love starting with, I feel like where we start, we can always up level, right? So even when I do my coaching clients one-on-one, I always start with, what would you love to celebrate? What are your wins? Share with me something that felt good, because it's so easy. It's like they jump on a call and it's like, oh, this happened in the work and my kids and blah. I'm like, okay, let's take a deep breath. What can we celebrate before we dive deep, right? Because it's so easy to get on and on. This is what I want to change. This is what doesn't feel good. This is what doesn't feel right. But when we can start with the appreciation and the things that feel good, and I don't care if what felt good in the morning was just the sunshine on your face or your favorite coffee mug. There is always things to appreciate. And when we start with that, anything we're doing, like today we started together and we appreciated each other, and I appreciated your angels and your energy and your smile. Like, don't you and it's genuine. It's not like, let me pick something good so it feels good. No, if you genuinely appreciate something, people can feel your energy. And if we like it or not, energies are contagious. So you got to be the one who is worth of spreading.
Yes. Amen. And hallelujah. I mean, and it's so true. There is no faking joy. It's something you radiate. It's something that, and it does have an impact on others. And it's very powerful. So beautiful. Yeah. So one of the things that I had seen when I stalked your website
I love it.
Pairing feminine flow with strategic planning. So talk about, if you would, just feminine flow. What is that?
Oh my goodness. So when you see me today, right, like I have a beautiful, you cannot see it, you just see like top of my head, but I have like a beautiful feminine dress. I have my hair down. And even if you cannot see me and you can just hear my voice, it's soothing. It's relaxed. It's like, it's just, feel good voice. If you would see me 5 years ago, it was none of this, because let's go back when I was 7, 8 years old. I have a little baby brother, half brother, and every Saturday we would be cleaning the house. We had a beautiful big house. We were cleaning that. My brother is around 3 years old, so he doesn't do much cleaning, right? And So that Saturday morning, my mom, my dad, and my brother are watching cartoons, and I'm meant to be cleaning. I created a story, and the meaning that I gave it, I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy, and I have to be always doing things, so I deserve love. 3 decades later, hustler, working hard. I had 4 jobs, Teri. 4 jobs to maintain my ex-boyfriend who was, how do you say it nice way, seeing some other girls. And I was like maintaining his 2 mortgages.
Wow.
Because I wanted to be loved, right?
Yeah.
So I was very much tapped into the masculine energy, and I was the provider, I was the protector, I was the one who was fixing, I was the one who was like strategic and planning and like doing, so I wasn't open to receiving. So when I say feminine, it's receiving. It's soft. It's like a beautiful river, it's strong. It's not weak. It's strong. It gives life. That's how I see feminine energy. Like I'm like getting excited here with the mic. So
I love it.
When you see that, like the river, when it flows, look around. It's filled with life because it's flowing. It's flow.
Yeah.
And it was 3 years ago when I hired a mentor. I had several before and after, and I work now with 2 mentors. I truly believe in the power of mentorship. And so my mentor back then told me to create a core values, right? So I created my core values because I heard of it before. I've never done it before. Listeners can do it. Again, you can email me for beautiful worksheets. I just love everything beautiful. So pretty worksheets, but it's so easy. You can just do it. Take a piece of paper, divide it into, on one side, you will write down the things you don't stand for. I don't like the word like hate, but what you don't stand for. And on the other side, opposite of that thing, what do you do stand for? So just to give you an example, I don't stand for hate, I stand for love. I don't stand for cheating, I stand for loyalty, right? I don't stand for being cheap, I stand for being generous. You go back and forth, and then take a highlighter or different color pen, and on the side of what you do stand for, highlight 3 things. Those are your core values. For me, it was generosity, loyalty, always growing, and the next one would be integrity. But it kind of goes with the, I'm an overachiever. I did 30 and 4, but 20 and 3, it's perfect, okay? So when I did that, it's good to do exercises, but what do you do about it, right? Once it's done, you close your journal and you're done and nothing changes in your life. You get to take an inventory of your life. So the first thing you do when you have those 3 core values, I want you to write it on a piece of paper, put it on the mirror, put it in your bathroom, put it in your bedroom, put it in your wallet. You get to see that. It's like reconditioning yourself to knowing what you stand for. So Teri, when I did that exercise 3 years ago, I looked at my life, look at the core values, and it was like, I look at my relationship, my business. I used to have social media marketing business. So again, masculine doing, going, chasing, right?
Right.
And so I took the inventory, looking at those. I'm like, nope. I'm like, Petia, what are you doing? I realized that even though, yes, I was on my journey for so many years, I was still people pleasing, making everybody happy. I lost myself in every relationship. After 4 years being in committed relationship, I found I was the only one committed because my partner was sleeping with somebody else for 3 years. I'm just like, I can't, but it was like almost always happening. And I didn't want to buy in the story that all men cheats. That's what I heard. I was like, I don't believe that. I'm not buying into that. So I took the inventory. I let go of my 5-year relationship. I let go of my social media marketing business, let go of my one-on-one coaching clients. And I'm like, okay. And now no more settling. Loyalty, integrity, always growing. Loyalty, it's like you have to have it or you're not in my life. And if we don't have the same values, it's okay. But it just means that you're not going to be in my inner circle. Yeah. But we will still respect each other. Maybe for you, it's family. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's joy. Maybe it's freedom. But you see, they're very interconnected. But if your, for example, values are money and adventure and taking advantage of others, or like growing for yourself, then like we have nothing to talk about. And it's not because you're a bad person, we're just on different paths. But this exercise, Teri, changed my life. So simple, yet when applied, you can go back.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you. I mean, I had never heard of that feminine flow before, and I think that's absolutely beautiful. I love the visual of the river.
Yes, it is, because once I realized my core values, I realized that I was just forcing things. I was pushing things. And I I miss being that little girl, I miss just playing around. And I started to allow myself a little things just here and there for her to appear. For example, there was like a sprinkles in a park, I just run into them and I feel like a rebel, like everybody's like walking there seriously with their dogs, kids playing, and Petia, it's running around, right? And then I gave myself permission to wear what feels good for me,
Yeah.
not what I think I should. And I started to give myself more and more permission. And I started to, study love of attraction, manifestation, Abraham Hicks. It's just like every day in my head. And many other books from Dr. Wayne Dyer and Joe Dispenza. It's just mind blowing, the teachers we have nowadays, right? So I started to study that. And then what I started to notice is when I surrender, when I let go, when I open to receive, it's like, I don't know, it's like the universe just hugs you.
Yes.
And it's like you're in my arms, and it's like, really just relax. I love you. And that's when I allowed myself to be in the flow 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And it was like getting, of course, it's a work, not work like you gotta do the work, but it's like, it's a progress, it's a process that we go through. But now what I was able to create, it's truly abundance. I attracted the love of my life, who treats me every single day like a queen. I never experienced love and support and cherishing like that before. I attracted my soulmate clients. I have an incredible team. And it's not through the hard work and hustle, really. That's why I love pairing the feminine flow. That's the receiving, that's the loving, that's the nurturing, that's the self-care, that's the like this motherly energy, it's the allowing. And then I pair it with the strategic planning, because the thing, it's like, okay, now you're in the flow, you're feeling beautiful, you're feeling amazing, and you're feeling amazing in your own home or office. How will you impact the people out there? So I help my clients to, yes, get into their feminine flow, because that's the receptive mode of how to receive, how to allow, how to be playing with the universe. It doesn't have to be like, where's my stuff, like, I was praying yesterday night and this morning it still didn't come, where is it? It's not that. It's like allowing, trusting, and having fun. Because when I'm having fun, when I disconnect, like today, it's so funny, I find myself worked up with outside things I cannot control. The traffic, wearing the mask, that those masks don't do anything, the ones that we're meant to be wearing, and like long lines. It's 110 degrees right now in Las Vegas, and you have to be waiting outside in the line to get into the store. So I was getting like, oh, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to go in the downward spiral, right? What can I do? How can I soothe myself? I went to the pet store. And I bought like a bird bath, and I was talking to the bird there, and it worked.
Yeah.
So how can you soothe yourself instead of forcing and being like so that's how I really pair the feminine flow with strategic steps, because it's good that you're feeling good, but I'm working only with women who want to change the world. And sometimes changing the world just means being conscious mom, and it's fine.
Yes.
Because when you're doing good, when you're feeling good, then you're more patient with your kids. Then you don't want to throw them from the window because they're yelling and running around like crazy. I have many single moms or, moms, or it's just like sometimes they're like, Petia, what do I do? I'm like, I'm not a mommy yet. And, so it's, your inner world, it's going to reflect on the outside if you like it or not. And when you can ease into the feminine, when you can really trust, I see it in dozens of my clients, when they surrender, when they ease in, when they most of my clients, they cannot even accept compliment.
Yeah.
They cannot receive a compliment. It's like, oh no, it's not a big deal. Oh, I'm like, no, take a deep breath and say thank you, that's it.
Yeah.
It's so challenging for so many women, and that's the feminine, that's the receiving, that's the receptive, that's the openness. Just, we were born, our bodies are born to receive, right? So when we can tap back into that, then you can see clearly why you're here, what you're meant to do. What you're meant to do will change as you change, so it's okay. Sometimes I see women like struggling, like, what is my one thing? I was like, good luck if you want to fit me in any box.
Right. I just said that yesterday to somebody. Don't try to put me in a box because I don't fit in one. So,
Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. All right. So, anything else that you wanted to tap upon before we closed out?
One thing that I created a mantra when I was on my journey that really, really helped me along, that I would love to share, and that's, you're perfectly made for your purpose. Very often we're trying to change, or we're trying to do the things that we're told to do. But when you realize that exactly as you are, the way you speak, the way you look, the way you feel, you're perfectly made for your purpose, everything else will become so much easier in your life. So please just remember that.
Wow, that is powerful and beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I truly believe that it all comes back to feeling worthy. I also created like mini course because I wanted everyone to put their hands on it, because I truly feel that when we feel worthy, everything else is easier. The healing, the opportunities. When you don't feel worthy, nothing else will work in your life, not even the healing, because then you don't feel deserving.
Right. Yeah. I love that. You're perfectly
Made for your purpose.
made for your purpose. I'm going to use that. I love
Please
it.
do. Please
Yeah.
do.
Thank
All
you.
for you.
Awesome. I love it. So how do people get a hold of you? Where do they find you?
So my favorite place, it's on Instagram. I'm always there. For those who are not using Instagram, you can join my free Facebook group, Unapologetically Abundant Women, or just check out my website. You enjoyed it. Everything is there. My freebie is there. My mini course is there. My blog post, and it's just my name, Petia Kolibova. And I know Teri will spell it for you because you're like, what?
Right.
What?
That's awesome. Yes, I will have it on the YouTube video. I will have your website down below, and then I'll put it in the show notes on the audio so everybody can have a link to it. So yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Teri. I just love your energy. Your questions were absolutely soul shifting, and I'm really excited to see how our journeys can keep interconnecting, because I'm like, I just want my new soul sister.
I know. Well, it's so true. And as you talked a couple of times there, I was like, oh my gosh, that's another thing. My dad would wake us up on Saturday mornings, me and my little sister, and we would have to clean and clean and clean. And we couldn't watch cartoons until we cleaned. And so I was so there with you cleaning our apartment on a Saturday morning. And I so wanted to be watching Scooby-Doo or whatever was on.
Oh my gosh, you see, it's like, what are the odds, right? Like
Right.
Saturday morning cleaning, not being able to watch cartoons. I love that, Teri.
Oh my gosh, I was just like, my heart was connecting with you in that moment. So I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you again for being here and the beautiful work you do in the world and shining your light. It's just beautiful.
Thank you, Teri. I appreciate you and your work.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening today to the Healing Place podcast with your host and trauma warrior, Teri Wellbrock. If you enjoyed this episode and want to learn more about Teri, her mission, and the Hope for Healing journey, visit Teri's website at www.teriwellbrock.com. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and offering your reviews on our YouTube channel, audio outlets, and Facebook page. And as Teri reminds us, until next time, remember, be gentle with yourself.